Welcome everyone, this is the final part of how Netflix should adapt Ben 10 into live action. Now we're moving on to the third film series. It covers Ben 10 Ultimate Alien. First, let's start with Season 1, which starts with the Andromeda arc and ends with the Ultimate Kevin arc. Starting with the first episode, I thought about cutting out one of the scenes. There's two of them I could cut out. The first one is when he turns into Jiro and saves a pilot, and then there's the other one where he fights Bithalvin as Chromastone. I thought about cutting one or the other. It's debatable, really. It can go either way because there is this cool shot of Ben coming out the jet. He can just simply scan Bithalvin in the caves. You can move him falling out of the jet in episode 10. Skipping to episode 2. Now, there's only one change I could make is either I have Julie break up with Ben in episode 2, or I have him not go to the movies and they're still besties. Could skip episode 3 and have a throwaway line about it. Episode 4 would be shortened just a little, and I would immediately have episode 5 happen, so no Dr. Animo and that Yeti. Episodes 5 to 7 happen pretty normally with, I guess, small changes. You could rearrange episode 9 before episode 8, so Ben could immediately start going after Agrigor after capturing Rad. From their point on, everything else plays out mostly the same throughout the rest of the season, but I'm going to keep the main trio in space in their Rust Bucket 3. I could include the Plumber's Helpers here. Means that scenes of Ben turning into goop running away from fans would have to be cut. Sorry about that. So from episode 10 to 14, episode 14 will be trimmed out a little bit to feel less self-contained. Episodes 15 to 20 are well adapted with some small changes here and there. Ben turning an Alien X on the Rust Bucket 3 instead of at Gelvin Prime. Still talks to Azimuth on a hologram. And I guess everything else is pretty faithful from there on for the rest of the season. Except there's one last change, and that is to have the trio break apart, much like what happens in the live-action Cowboy Bebop. It makes perfect sense after what's just happened to them throughout this whole season. I guess if Ben was breaking up with Julie, I think part of the movie would be him trying to atone for what he did and trying to earn back her trust and not succeeding. Adding extra Ultimate Aliens, that's just minor stuff. I honestly think I did a great job. That was all of Season 1. For Season 2, I've thought of two options. A, we could continue adapting Season 2 for this new movie, or we could adapt the video game for the second movie, Cosmic Destruction, and then for Season 3, we adapt Season 2. But either way, let's see how we can adapt Season 2 of Ultimate Alien. Starting off, keeping episode 1, shortening episode 2, cutting out episode 3 and episode 4, keeping and shortening episode 5, then go on adapting from episode 6 all the way to episode 11 and cutting out the little fillers that happen in between those episodes. We cut out episode 12. Episode 13 through 16 happen pretty normally, but there are lots of things trimmed out, which are the unnecessary parts. Episode 16 through episode 19 happen mostly the same, shortened and connected a little bit more. Episode 20 is completely cut out because it's filler. We cut immediately to episode 21 and 22. Cut out the filler with the trash. Episode 23 through 27 by trimming out the more unimportant stuff and connecting things. Cut out the stuff with Darkstar if you would want. Had episode 27 start as an early subplot throughout the beginning and come all the way to episode 29. Scenes of the Forever Knights and Old George through their perspective. It's Albedo, but the difference is that they end up recruiting Albedo instead of Albedo having this nightmare. Or that can be an alternative scene, I guess. The Lacubra minions would immediately attack Ben right after they recruit Albedo or defeat Albedo. To our 3-part finale. Instead of waiting in a jet, they immediately go to the seal. Gwen is possessed by Dagon. Dagon is set free. They remove the bug in Gwen. More time that fleshes out what's going on throughout the rest of this season's finale. Actually have a cool final battle between Dagon, Vilgax, and Ben with the sword and the power of the Ultimatrix. He ends up using Ultimate Alien X. We get an epilogue of all the things wrapping up. I think I did a good job handling Season 2 by cutting out all the unimportant shit and keeping in what's important and expanding on it. Might add some extra Ultimate Aliens here and there. Placed some moments where Ben turned into a different alien that he doesn't turn into in Ultimate Alien, like the ones that we see in the intro. I would cast Jared Leto or Joaquin Phoenix to play Agrigor, since Agrigor and the Joker were played by John DiMaggio. in animation. You can cast someone Mandarin, Japanese, or Caucasian. But that is it, guys. This is how Netflix should adapt Ben 10 into live action if it ever wanted to. Now, this is the last part, so don't expect me to do Omniverse because it's pretty simple. They could either just end there, or they could just continue adapting Omniverse into making its own movie series, one movie per season, that sort of thing. But it'll be pretty easy to know what to do because you're so used to these videos. And as always, thanks for watching. Subscribe, share, like, and comment.